We've been working quite a lot about sexting in the past few years. It's something that parents and teachers and adults often think about as something new and something they don't know and they cannot imagine what it is. But if you really go back in history, it's something that's been out there since ever, basically. Because what is sexting? Sexting is sharing intimate pictures of yourself with other people. As such, there's nothing wrong with sexting, and people have been doing that in intimate relationships since ever. The first histories or stories of sexting going wrong date back to Renaissance, about paintings that are being made of mistresses with, for instance, bare breasts, but were shared with other people, or telegraph messages that went into the wrong hands. So sexting is something that has always been around there, but now is something quite popular amongst children, mainly young people, because of the fact that they have cameras in their pockets at all times. Today, sexting plays quite of a big role in teenagers' lives, or in any case, in their intimate and sexual lives. Teenagers are experimenting with sexual behavior, are experimenting with their own boundaries, their own integrity, what to share with whom, and in which way. And in that framework, sexting plays a very important role. It's really became something that they all at least think about, but many of them do, most often within healthy, consensual sexual relationships. But it's definitely something that became part of the sexual development of young people. Sexting is something that adults tend to freak out about a bit once they know that their daughter or their son or someone in their class has been sharing intimate images of themselves with someone else. We feel it's very important to normalize sexting and to say that if I want to share an image of myself without feeling pressured, and I really want to do it, and I want to share it with you, and you really want to get it, then there's nothing wrong with sharing this type of intimacy with each other and with one another. But sometimes it goes wrong. And when does it go wrong? If the receiver decides to send it forward or forward it to other people who were not intended to receive this very intimate image of me. So that's where sexting goes wrong. Not at the moment when I send it fully consensual to you, but when the moment you start deciding for me who you're going to share that picture or that image with. So that's one of the major risks related to sexting, the fact that you never know 100% sure that your image is going to stay within the trustworthy relationship. So that's something we have to work about. In the past, we have been developing awareness raising messages and programs for all teenagers at the same time, sometimes distinct by age. And I really still believe that those are very powerful and very effectful and necessary. But going a bit deeper within the phenomenon, we started realizing that boys look very differently to this phenomenon than do girls, and they also experience and live it very differently. And that's where the gender part and sometimes even the gender stereotypes come in. So we know that boys are often peer pressured, because peer pressure really plays an important role in everything that's got to do with sexting. Boys sometimes feel pressured to ask for images, to almost collect them as little trophies of the special images they get from girls. So they are much more pressured from a peer pressure point of view to ask for images, where girls, for instance, they're way much more pressured to send them, because for them often being asked such type of intimate picture in their head, it says something about their desirability, and the fact that they are someone, that they are seen, and that they are desired by someone. So that, combined with peer pressure, often is going to let them way quicker to share images that they might not be willing to share with other people. And that's very different for boys and girls. So that's something that really we have to keep in mind. Also, for instance, girls are very much more often being confronted with unsolicited dick pics, for instance, which is also a type of sexting that goes wrong. If you send me something that I do not want to receive, that's not okay. So boys do send out images of themselves to girls a bit too impressed to show what they're about, but girls do not always want to receive them. So that's also where the gender stereotype comes in. The boy needs to be tough and cool and show his abs and his abdomen, where girls do not always really want to get these images on their smartphone. So that's also something where the gender really plays an important role. And in the third level, also the type of images that are being shared are often very different. A guy, to his girlfriend mainly, will share more often photos of his abdomen, of his six pack, of his body, of which he's very proud, where girls tend to more often share intimate pictures of, for instance, their naked chest and their breasts in order to share this intimacy with their boyfriend. But you can imagine if it gets spread a picture from a guy in a six pack, it's being seen by other young people as, yeah, he's cool, he's sporty, he knows a lot about his body, where a picture of a girl's naked chest that is being seen by other young people, then very much more often girls are called sluts and stupid because they should not have been sharing this type of content with anyone. So that's also very much the victim blaming, and the slut shaming is very much more present with girls than it is with boys. Well, when we talk about sexting as such, just sexting, then I personally feel that it's important to start talking about it at a quite young age. I feel that you can already start talking about it with children as of 10, 11 years old. They're not yet at the age where they will start to do a lot of sexting, but getting the prevention and the safety tips in their heads is quite important to get it that young before they really start doing it. So that's for the sexting as such. But if we start looking at these gender stereotypes that also play an important role in the whole sexting phenomenon, then you really have to start way, way, way earlier. Then it's about how we teach boys what it is like to be a boy and how to be a man, and how girls have to behave towards boys, and have this mutual respect and respect for each other's boundaries, and stuff like that is very important from a very, very young age. Also for sexting, it's very important that we teach young people to ask for help, to seek help when something goes wrong. But we know that girls tend to seek help way more often than boys do. But that's because we learn already, little boys, that they don't need help. They have to toughen up, man up, we call that. So we tell them not to cry over spoiled milk, and to be tough and don't cry like a girl. So we already teach them at a very young age not to really ask for help, but sort things out themselves, and to be tough and to be cool. That's something that we already start teaching to small boys, and we might also want to start there if you want to play a positive role in the gender stereotyping that is linked to sexting.